Okay, everybody, Bill Platt here, and I just wanted to give you a heads up that I don't have a pause button on this particular software. OBS Studio, it's great software for doing what we're doing here, but it doesn't have a pause. It's made for live recording, live broadcasting. So I will occasionally make myself disappear, sort of like, let's see, this right there, make myself disappear so I can get a drink because it's rude to get a drink on camera. Just a personal thing. So Becky Fairbanks is asked in the group, and several people have agreed that they would like to answer to the same question. I'd like to talk with you about that. And the basic question she's asking is, she's still questioning the make massive quantities of books and see what sells technique, and asking if that's the right approach to be taking with her books. And part of the question is that most people who use this techniques report back that anywhere from 10 to 20% of the books that they produce will make them money, and then the other 80 to 90% won't make them money. And Becky is starting to question the technique primarily because she doesn't even see 10% of her books making money. She does see sales now and again, but she doesn't see consistent sales for any one title. And additionally, she doesn't see that she's getting sales from 10% of her books. So she's looking at it and she's asking herself, am I wasting my time with this approach? And so I wanted to give you some kind of background information. And honestly, I've been doing this kind of thing for years. I've been producing products and services online since 2001. And I've had a lot of experience selling a lot of stuff online. And my gross sales are in the my gross sales going back to 2001, so 17 years of selling online. I've sold over $2 million worth of products online, so I don't feel like I'm like an amateur at this by any measure. Been doing it for a long, long time, and I've got a lot of experience doing it, and so I wanted to give you an idea about this from my perspective. So back when I first started out, between 2000 and 2010, I did what we call article marketing. Now, article marketing, for those who don't know, it's the premise of writing an article, getting it published on a website. Somebody reads that article and they get to the end of the article and they see something that says, like, Bill Platt is the owner of XYZ website, and if you need to learn more about this particular service, then or this particular item, then you can click the link below and find out more information about that particular topic. So in a lot of cases, I was doing from 2000 to 2010. I was selling marketing services to other people, and then from 2005 to 2008, I was selling SEO services to people, and I did very well with that. I just didn't want to do it anymore, so I got out of the business. I'm not involved in SEO whatsoever. I don't do marketing services per se anymore, but I cut my teeth doing promotion for other people. And in the meantime, then along about 2010, I made that shift from doing it as a service to doing it for myself. So instead of worrying about helping other people be successful, I only worried about making myself successful. So I started creating my own products. And so I would create training in PDF and video format, and then I would sell it. Then I would create software, and then I would sell that software. And then about 2012, I took that a little bit further and started selling some of my training on Amazon Kindle. And then in 2014, I started doing print books as well. So I sell PDF training from my own website. I sell software from my own websites. I sell video training from my own websites. Then I take my PDFs and sometimes I transfer them over and put them on Kindle. And I sell the Kindle books from Amazon. And then I do a print version and sell that from Amazon as well. Then I'll take that print version, put it over on Etsy and sell it. Then I'll put it over here. And I'm like it's a wrong way to say it, but I'm like a whore for attention. And so I don't mind where I make my money from as long as I make the money, right? And so I've been doing this. I haven't had a outside my house job since 2005. So for the last 13 years, I've been flying by the seat of my pants and doing quite well, actually. And so that's the angle I'm coming to this from. I wanted you to understand the background a little bit and also to understand the approach. And this approach of throwing lots of books against the wall to see what sells technique is actually pretty solid, because back when I did article marketing, so I would do an informational article and then I would distribute it out, and I was targeting, my primary target was newsletters. I want a newsletter publisher to pick up my article and publish it in their publication, because I could get 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 or 500,000 people looking at my article in a single afternoon. And then a certain percentage of those people would read the article and enjoy it, and then see my sales pitch at the bottom, which wasn't. The article itself never had a sales pitch. The article itself was just an information piece. And then in my resource box where it says Bill Platt is the author of this article, if you need someone to help you with your SEO services, click the link below. And that's what my sales pitch was, is visit my website to learn more, basically. And no matter which article I did and which sales pitch I used, the gist of it was visit my website to learn more. Okay? And then I did all the selling from my own website. I didn't do the selling in the article, and I didn't do it in the resource box, the About the Author resource box. I did all the selling from my own website. The article was to get their attention. The article was to build trust, for them to trust me as a provider. And then the resource box was like the bridge. That's what takes you from the article to my website. So the language on that was real simple. Click here to learn more. If you need somebody to help you with X, click here to learn more. So my goal was to get people over to the website where they could buy my stuff. So the same thing, we're doing the same thing with our books. So our goal is to get people to look at a sales page for one of our books on Amazon and then make a purchase. Okay? So there's, on the SEO side of it, search engine optimization side, there's Bing and there's Google. Google handles more traffic, but the people who use Bing tend to buy more products. So it's easier actually to rank on Google than it is to rank on Bing. Bing is more concerned with what you have on your actual page. Google is more concerned about the words you use within your link. So like in this case here, we got on the Facebook, Becky Fairbanks is a link. So if you click it, you get to go and look at her profile. And the words inside the link is her name. So Becky Fairbanks is the link text. And then there's a URL that's behind that name that takes you to a particular web page. So with the articles, my goal was to get you to read the article, like the article, like me, trust me, and click the link to learn more about what I want to tell you about. What service I'm offering, what product I'm selling, whatever. So that's my goal with the article marketing. And so, like with SEO, take for example the SEO. So, most people who are looking for SEO services are business owners. They run a business online, or they sell products online, or they sell books on Amazon, whatever the case may be. It's all pretty much the same. Whether you're selling dog collars or doorbells, the techniques, the promotion techniques we use online are exactly the same. We just use different words. So with Bing, it matters what's on the page. With Google, it matters what text is used within that link. And so with the article, I want the article to get the attention of the people most likely to want to buy my products. So if I'm selling SEO services, which I did for 3 years, and I don't anymore, and don't want to ever again, but suppose I did. Let's just use that as an example, and it's a good example to use. So I'm selling SEO services, and I want to target people who own businesses within the state of Oklahoma. So I would want to rank for words like Oklahoma SEO services, Oklahoma SEO providers, Oklahoma search engine optimization providers, Oklahoma search engine marketing company, Oklahoma SEO company, and then I would actually want to drill down into local terminology as well. So not just Oklahoma, but Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Lawton, Oklahoma, and Enid, Oklahoma, and Ponca City, Oklahoma, and Bartlesville, Oklahoma, and Hugo, Oklahoma, and Elk City, Oklahoma, and Weatherford, Oklahoma, and Woodward, Oklahoma. So not only do I want to rank for Oklahoma SEO provider, I want to rank for Woodward, Oklahoma SEO provider. Because a lot of the people who are doing the buying, it's funny, back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a commercial on about the Pace Picante sauce. And they would have all these cowboys sitting around the campfire, and they're waiting for the cook to prepare dinner. And then when he goes to serve dinner, they got a strange picante sauce there. And they'd say something to the cook about the picante sauce. And he says, "Oh, I just grabbed this picante sauce here." And the guy's looking at the ball, and he says, "Where's this stuff made at?" And he starts looking at the ball and says, "It's made in New York City, hanging." So they hang the cook because he's using a picante sauce made in New York City. And so that it's a funny commercial to me, but the principle applies here. So, made in New York City, hanging, people. So, people in Oklahoma don't want picante sauce made in New York City. They want picante sauce made in Texas, where everybody else who eats picante lives. So, the same thing applies to your SEO. They don't want a New York City provider doing their SEO services. They want somebody who's familiar with local customs, local people, the way of life down here, the culture down here. So people who own a business in Oklahoma might be inclined, instead of just look for a general SEO company, to look for somebody based in their local community. And the fact that they can go down to your shop is really important, because it means that they can actually communicate with you better because you're right there in town with them. So I would, if I was in doing SEO today, I would target Oklahoma City SEO services, Tulsa, Oklahoma SEO provider, Ponca City, Oklahoma search engine optimization, Lawton, Oklahoma search engine marketing, Woodward, Oklahoma SEO company. So I think you can see where I'm going with this. We want to position our company in the search engine according to how our customers will be typing in keywords to find us. It's not about what I want to be. It's about being where the customers are looking. So in my case, if I'm doing SEO and I'm targeting Oklahoma companies, then I want to target companies who are typing in local cities in Oklahoma to find somebody to provide those services to them. So if I understand that people are typing in Tulsa, Oklahoma SEO provider, then I can rank for that key term in Google. And then when people go to Google and type in Tulsa, Oklahoma SEO provider, they're going to find my listing towards the top of the search results. And that's important because people want to do business with people like them. Okay? So when you're talking just with SEO, there are literally 1,000 different keywords you could put in there that you would want to rank for. And then you can drill that down into states, and then you can drill it down into cities, and you can drill it into counties and regions. So like if you were in Tennessee, you could do the Appalachian SEO Agency. Okay? Or if you were in New York City Metro, you can do Big Apple SEO Company. Or if you were in Arizona, maybe you're the Grand Canyon SEO Company. But the Grand Canyon is like 60 miles long, so there's probably 20 cities in that range, or 10 cities in that range. I've never been there. I do not know. I haven't even looked at it on a map. I don't know. I'm just blowing, So, we want to be where our customers are looking to find us. So, we got SEO and SEM and search engine optimization and search engine marketing and SEO company and SEO provider and SEO services and SEO marketing services, and then we got local SEO and local SEO marketing and local SEO services and local SEO ranking. And so there's just literally thousands of keywords we can throw at this, and then we divide them down by cities, and now we've got tens of thousands of keywords that people can be typing in to find our website. And this is kind of what we're doing with the throw them against the wall approach with journals inside Amazon. We want people to be able to type in a keyword. We have no idea what they're going to type in when they go to Amazon to find a book. They are thinking, I'd like to find a journal, and I'd like it to have this inside of it, and I like these kinds of things. We have no idea what these people are going to type in when they get to Amazon to look at books that they might want to purchase. Now, Amazon is interesting for a search engine because everybody there is buying something. They're looking for something to buy. They're not looking for information. We know that if they're on Amazon typing in search engine optimization training guide, that's what they're looking to buy. They're not looking for free help. They're looking for something to buy that will teach them what they want to know. Okay? So maybe we're doing nonfiction in Kindle. We say how to replace your toilet. And people who are typing in how to replace a toilet inside Amazon are looking to buy a book that's going to show them how to replace their toilet. It's real simple. So with the approach we're using here, the main purpose is we don't know what people are going to type into Amazon to find the books that you are selling. We just know that people are going to Amazon to buy books similar to what we're telling you to produce. So there's several things that some people, they buy the book according to what's on the inside. Some people buy it according to the title. Some people buy according to the description. Some people buy according to the cover. Believe it or not, I was talking to, I'm not going to tell her example because I don't want to expose what my customers do. But I will tell you my examples, So I've got one book that is a journal. I call it a journal. It's not even called a journal. I think I got journal as a keyword. And it's got a cow on the front cover. And it's got an ugly cow on the front cover at that. So I've got a book on Amazon that's basically 100 blank pages with lines on them. So it's a notebook. In any other format, if I put a spiral on it and punch 3 holes in it, it'd be a spiral notebook that we take to school. And I could buy it at Walmart for 99 cents. But because I put a fancy cover on it, and I put the kind of cover on to attract people, they're willing to pay me a whole lot more for that particular book. Now, I've got a book on Amazon right now that has a cow on the front cover, and it's an ugly cow. And people buy that book. And they overpay for that book. It's 100 pages with nothing but lines on the page. Okay? It's got a cow on the front cover. Okay? It's got cow in the title. Maybe you'll find it, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll not know which one's mine and which one's not mine. Okay? So, people type in cow notebook. They might find my book. And they might buy my book. And my ugly cow book is selling. I'm not getting rich from it. I'm not going to quit my job because that cow book is selling. But I am making money from it, and I'm making decent money from it. Now, you know, and I know that if I use thinner paper, I put blue lines on that page instead of black lines, and I put a spiral on it, and I punch 3 holes in it, then it'd be a 3-hole spiral notebook that you can buy at Walmart for 99 cents. But because I have a perfect binding on it instead of a spiral bound, and because I put a beautiful cover on it, it's not a spiral notebook anymore. It's a journal now, or a notebook of another name. So, the technicality is, it's no longer a ordinary notebook that we buy at Walmart for 99 cents, even though the technical utility of that book is no different than the 3-ring spiral notebook that we buy at Walmart for 99 cents. But I've got balls. So I do things that other people aren't willing to do. So I put up a book. I call it a book. It's got a cow on the front cover. It's got blank lines on the pages inside the book. And then I slap a $12.95 price tag on that book. It's still just a 100-page notebook. It's got an ugly cow on the front cover. It's probably an ugly cover. But it's still got a cow on the front cover. And people aren't buying it because it's a notebook with lines on the pages. They're buying it because it's a pretty book. In their mind, it's a pretty book. In my mind, it's probably ugly. But I don't like cows. But my customers like cows. So instead of putting it up on Amazon for 99 cents, I put the silly thing up there for $12.95. And people buy it. And I'm making about $7 per copy sold at $12.95. Now, I'm not getting rich. There's not 200 people a month buying that book. But there's 5 to 10 people buying that book each month. So I'm making anywhere from $35 to $70 for that one particular title on Amazon. Now, I've got another book. Equally hideous book cover. This particular book, it's not lines on a page. It's like a password list. It says website, blank line. Then it says username, blank line. Then it says password, blank line. So I've got a book that basically allows you to put 300 or so username password combos into a physical written book. And I sell it on Amazon. I sell it for $9.95. And it's got nothing more than a picture of a blacktop parking lot on the book cover. It's an ugly book. Hideous book. The people looking at that book cover probably don't realize it's a blacktop parking lot. It's a gray texture. That's all it is. It's a gray texture as far as they're concerned. I know, only I know, that's a picture of a blacktop parking lot. I use it as just a different cover on the same concept. Then innards of the book, I've got like 70 copies of that book up there with 70 different covers, 70 different titles, 70 different descriptions, 70 different keyword sets. I don't know how people are finding the books. What I do know is when a particular title starts to sell, it raises in the rankings and more people are going to find it. And that's what's beautiful about this approach, is that if we start selling a few copies, more people are going to find it, more people are going to buy it. And so it's weird. I'll sell the first copy of the day, and about 20 minutes later, I'll sell the second copy of the day. Then once I've sold two, then somebody else is going to find it, maybe buy it, and then there's my third book, and then my fourth book, and my fifth book, and maybe my 10th book for the day. So it's a matter of discovery. People are weird because they don't like books that nobody wants to buy. They like books that people are already buying. So if I sold 5 copies of my blacktop covered book today, then it's going to be out there for other people to find and discover and possibly buy. And they'll buy it because they know other people are buying it today. Because it's got a ranking on it. They'll buy it. But the buy algorithms do nothing more than make it easier to discover. And then more people are going to discover it and say, hey, that looks like a cool book. I'll buy it. And maybe they're buying it for what's in the pages, and maybe they're buying it for the description, maybe they're buying it for the cover. Maybe they're buying it because they think my cow is pretty. Maybe they're buying it because they think that blacktop parking lot looks awesome. Who knows? Who cares? They're buying it. I'm making money from it. Now, the thing of it is, we say, do we like this approach where only 10% of the books we create are going to sell? Well, you know, it doesn't matter what you sell and what you put up on the internet. That's going to happen. Last summer in June of 2017, I had a tree fall in my backyard. Went through my house, cut my house in half. Okay? So I needed to raise some money really quickly. Money I didn't expect to spend because I need to replace the house that got destroyed. And, you know, I'm Oklahoma and I don't care what my living situations are as long as they're decent enough for me. And I had a really nice mobile home down in Stillwater, and I decided to sell that thing because I went from having 3 kids living with me to having 2, so I could get a smaller house. And then I only had 1 kid living with me because the youngest went to stay with his mom. And so I wasn't really worried about the house. It was more than enough for me. The house that I moved into, I had a nice house down in Stillwater, and I moved to my hometown of Ponca City, and I was living in the house here in Ponca City, and I didn't worry about it too much because it's paid for, you know. I own the land, I own the house, and I'd owned this house for like 5 years before I moved here. And so when I moved here, instead of fixing it up for a renter to move into, I moved in myself. And then I sold my bigger house. Not a big deal, right? So I didn't have insurance on the older house because it's a 40-year-old mobile home. It's probably worth $200, but you know, it was a house and it put a roof over my head, and it was comfortable and safe and all that good stuff, and everything was good until the tree fell, and the tree went right through and cut the house in half. So I needed to replace the house, and I didn't carry insurance on it because, well, it's worth $200. It's only worth $200, so I didn't carry insurance on the house. There's no need for it. they probably wouldn't have given me insurance on it anyway because it's a 40-year-old mobile home. Okay? So, when the tree came down, I decided, okay, well, we'll just get rid of this one that just got destroyed. We'll get a new mobile home in there. And now I got a double wide, and it's nice, and I like it, and and all that good stuff. But the thing of it is, when the tree came down, I was like, well, I'm not worried about it. I'll raise the money. I'll either get a loan or I'll raise cash because I can do that. I've been doing it for years. Just magically put out a product and raise money and make as much money as I wanted and then some, and not even worry about it. And when I went to get a loan, I found out I wasn't getting a loan because, well, I showed a negative earning on my taxes the year before. And you have to show profit 2 years in a row in order to get financing on a house. So I had to come up with cash as my only option, okay? Even though I made good money the year before, I'd taken a write-off the year before it was due to me, but it was like a $20,000 write-off. So I took my positive earnings and turned them negative. Because I turned them negative, no bank would give me a loan. So I had to raise the cash. So I put out a product at the 1st of June, made $200. Put out a second product, made $300. Put out a third product, made about $700. Put out a fourth product, made about $125. Put out a fifth product, made about $175. I was pissed. I put out 5 products in 1 month and made less than $2,000 from all that work. I was aggravated. I was every shade of irritated with myself because I know it's not because people didn't want to give me money. I know it's because I did not frame my product in a way that people would want to buy it. So I put out 5 flops in a row. Not that they were bad products, but 5 times in a row, I did not tell people why they wanted to own my product. So they didn't buy it. So I didn't make any money. So I was pissed. But I had to get over it and move on, I still had to raise the money. So I put out some more products. 6 flopped. 7 flopped. 8 flopped. 9 was a success. 10 flopped. 11 flopped. 12 flopped. 13 was a success. 14 flopped. 15 flopped. Flop, flop, flop. I put more flops out in 2017 than I have in the last 10 years. I was pissed. And it's my own damn fault. Okay? So here's the deal. We don't know what's going to sell before we produce it. We just have to keep putting stuff out there. And whether it's a book on Amazon or a PDF that I sell from my own website or a video training I sell from my own website or a dog bowl or a doorbell, it doesn't matter. We put them out there. People will like them or they will hate them. If people like it, they'll buy it. If they don't like it, they won't buy it. And when you have flops, the God's honest truth is if you have a flop, it usually isn't because your product sucks. It's because your sales copy sucks. Okay? So there's 2 sides of the marketing game as far as when you're publishing. You either produce more books or you escalate your marketing on your one book. So I got this one lady friend, and she makes usually $100,000 during December from the sale of one book. Just one book on one platform. So it's $100,000 just from CreateSpace for that one title being sold only on Amazon. Now that same book is available in Kindle format too. I don't know the Kindle numbers. I don't know the Apple numbers. I don't know the Lulu numbers or the Barnes & Noble numbers. She's making money on all that. What I know is the Amazon Create Space number. She's making $100,000 in December on that particular book. She makes about $20,000 in January. She makes about $40,000 in November, about $20,000 in October, and then the rest of the year she barely makes $5,000 a month. Her book sells because it's a novelty item, and it only sells at Christmas. So all those sales she's getting for the entire year, she's getting between October and January. So in her case, she only worries about marketing the one book. She will do promotion all year long to drive the sales for that one book. But other people don't want to spend the money to promote one book. And here's the deal, we don't know what people are going to like. I put out books, and my One Ugly Cow sells really well, and my Black Top cover sells really well on Amazon. And I've got a few other titles that sell really well. And when you look at it and say, okay, 10% of your book should sell, that's an average number. Now, when we look at Di's numbers, she typically sees about 10% of her books actually selling during the course of the year. With mine, in some cases it's lower. I put out more flops than she does, but that's fine. But then my approach to it is, as soon as I start seeing one particular title selling well, I'll throw all my marketing behind that one particular title. So, the thing is, I see one particular book's doing well today. I'm going over and running an ad for it on Facebook. Because I'm going to try to turn those 2 sales for today into 20 or 30 sales for tomorrow. That's my approach. I just keep throwing stuff against the wall, and then when it hits, I go in and do extra promotion on that one title. Now, other people come along, and they'll say, no, that's not the right approach at all. You want to, instead of throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall, you need to put out one good book and put all your marketing behind that book. And I almost buy that approach. Almost. But my problem with that approach is, if I do one book and put it out there and throw all my marketing at that, and the silly thing doesn't sell because I don't know why it didn't sell, then I've wasted all my money pitching a book that nobody wants to buy. Sort of like my 2017 flop, record of flops, Flop, 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 flop. All those products in June that didn't make any money at all. 5 products in June, less than $2,000 earned. I'm not going to be throwing money to promote those things. They didn't make me money. I'm not going to promote them. Okay? So I keep throwing it against the wall until I find something that sticks, and then I promote the heck out of it. And the one product I put out that made me the most money, I'm not going to tell you what the product is, but I grossed almost $100,000 on one product. Okay? And so one product grossed almost $100K. The topic behind that product has probably put another $100K in the coffers. So the main product, $100K, and then all the spin-offs for that one product produce another $100K, okay? But that's just one angle, one niche, one genre. And then I got this other stuff over here. And I come from the position of diversification because back in 2001, I got started. And I went from making zero money online. I think I made $30 the previous year in 2000. $30 for the entire year. Wasn't from lack of trying, it was from lack of knowledge, okay? And then in 2001, by September, I was making $1,800 a month, okay? And I continued making $1,800 to $2,400 a month from September of 2001 up until June of 2002. Then all of a sudden the bomb fell out. Now I went from making $2,400 a month to making $600 a month. It sucked. Because I'd weaned myself off of my job, and I figured, I'm making $2,400 a month online and making $2,400 a month on my job. I can just replace my job. And I couldn't live on $2,400 a month now to save my life, right? But at the time I could, because I didn't have hardly any expenses. I owned my own house, owned a mobile home. It was a decent mobile home. I had like $900 a month expenses. I had no kids then too, so that's probably the reason why. But so I could survive on $2,400 a month. No way in God's green earth I could do that today. So back then, I decided to leave my job. Then all of a sudden the bomb fell out. And I went from $2,400 a month to $600 a month, and then I had to go get a job, and that sucked. Once you've worked for yourself, you never want to work for somebody else again. Never, ever. But I went back to work, and about a year later, I was making enough to quit my job again, but I refused. And there's fear, absolute, utter fear, that I would quit my job and the money would dry up, and then I'd lose the job I had, which was a good job. So from June of 2002, I went to work, and about a year later, in June of 2003, I was making I have to think about this. I was doing $48,000 a year. I did $48,000. Well, I take that back. I did $36,000 in 2003. Did $48,000 in 2004. So I was making $4,000 a month in 2004. And then so I was making a living enough to quit my job by 2003, but I stayed with my job for another 18 months. In April 1st of 2005 is when I quit my last job. And I've not gone back. I've never had to go back. But I didn't get here from there by launching one product and resting my laurels on that one product. Even when I was writing articles, I was smart about it, but when I was writing articles, only one of 3 articles would get syndicated. So I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. I like to believe that I'm going to get there. If I just write this article, I'll make a lot of money. And then I'd write the article, and then it'd flop. Then I'd write the next article, and thinking that this one's the one. And it would flop. And then that third one would kick. But even when it kicked, it wasn't always the big money. Sometimes I made $5,000 off that one kick. And sometimes I made $15,000 off that one kick. And then I'd have several flops in a row. So from the very beginning, it's always been a feast and famine experience. So when I was writing articles, it's feast and famine. When I was doing SEO, it's feast and famine. Then later on, I was doing ghostwriting, and that was feast and famine as well. And then I switched over to doing my own products, and feast and famine again. And today, to look at today or the last several years or whatever the case may be, my income is derived from hundreds of products. I sell hundreds of individual products each month and hundreds of individual books each month. And it's the conglomeration of all the money from all those individual books and products that help me pay the bills. I don't make it on a single book. I've never made it on a single book. Now, I have books that pay me extraordinarily well every month. I've got products that pay me extraordinarily well every month. But if I was to rest all my laurels on that one product, I'd be getting a job. And I don't want to have a job. So I have to keep throwing stuff. And when I was doing the articles, 1 in 3 was a success. And for my customers, I tell them 1 in 10 is a success generally. And generally that proved out for my customers. I had one lady contact me, and she said, well, you said 1 out of 10 should be a success. I've had 10 failures. I was just wondering, how sure are you of your numbers? And I said, in like 95% of the cases, 1 out of 10 will be a success. So then she put out 11, 12, 13 hit. And 13, article number 13, made her so much money. She came back and told me she made so much money off of article 13 that she could pay for all of her article creation for the next 10 years. So it works. It's just, there's, to a large degree, we can point and say, you should be doing this. But we can't be precise that this is exactly what you should do. Because I would have figured, like even with my journals, you know, the one with the black top cover. Who would have thought? It's an ugly gray cover. It's a snapshot of a parking lot. It should not be selling. It's one of my top selling books this month. Why? People are silly. We don't know. I'm smart. I would have never imagined that that would be the case, that that book would be one of my top sellers this month. Really. It is mind-numbing, mind-blowing. Boom. It's gone, you know. I just don't know. It happens. So, then there's books that Di's done that do extraordinarily well. And I've got, like I said, I've got books on Amazon. I've got books on other platforms. I've got products I sell from my own website, whether it's PDF product or a video product or a software product or whatever. My income comes from hundreds of products that sell every month. And the books are a small portion of that. Now, I say the books are a small portion of that. I make good money off the books I sell from my own website. I make more money from my own website than I do from Amazon. But here's the reason why. Because on Amazon, if I sell it from Kindle, I have to price it under $10 to make 70%. So I can either make $7 or I can make 30% on the sale of a book. I can sell the same book from my own website for $15 or $20 or $27 and keep 90% of the money. See what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of my books make me more money selling it from my own website than the books I sell on Amazon. Now, with my print books on Amazon, with some of my journals, I'm making $7 or $9 per unit sold. My second best-selling book this month, believe it or not, is the guts of it, the inside manuscript for my top-selling book this month has the exact same guts in it as the blacktop book. Except the one that's selling the best has a picture of a cell phone on the front cover. Okay? So I got the cell phone book, and I got the blacktop book. And they're both the same guts with a different book cover on them. Okay? We don't know what's going to sell. I've been doing this for 18 years. I still don't know what people are going to want to buy. But I do know that if I put enough stuff out there, then I can help people find my book. So I've got the blacktop out there, and I've got the cell phone cover out there, and then I got the ugly cow out there. And they're all selling well. But I got like 15 cows. One cow is selling, the other 14 don't exist. Okay? And so I don't know what it was about that one particular book that caught attention. Maybe it's because it is a Scottish cow from Scotland. Okay, so it's a Scottish cow. Maybe somebody went into Amazon and typed in Scotland cow, and my book came up. And then they bought it because they liked the Scotland cow. And then other people saw that people were buying a Scotland cow book, and they started buying it too. Now, I like Hereford cows. The Hereford cow isn't selling. I like Texas Longhorn cows. Texas Longhorns aren't selling. The Angus bull. I love eating Angus bull. But the Angus book isn't selling either. So, in my mind, I thought that maybe if any of those sold, it'd probably be the Texas Longhorn because they're a beautiful, beautiful cow. But no. It's a Scottish cow. Maybe they were looking for leprechauns and then stumbled across my cow and decided my cow was a book worth having. Or maybe they looked at it and they said, man, that's a pretty cow. I want to get that cow. I want a diary with that cow on the front cover. So that's how it comes down. So because the Amazon search engine and the Google search engine and the Bing search engine all work the same way, people go in, they record words and attribute those words to a particular listing. So people type in the certain keywords that they're looking for, and they might type in Scottish cow and find my Scottish cow book on Amazon and decide they want to buy it. And then the next person says, oh, that's a pretty cow. I want to get that on my book too. Then the next person says, that's a pretty cow, but my granddaughter would love that cow. So let me get that book with that cow for my granddaughter. And then the next person comes along and maybe they're like, oh, I used to have one of those when I was a kid. My dad used to have one when I was a kid. So I want that particular cow on my notebook. And then another one comes along and says, hey, I've got a whole pasture full of those things. That'd be cool if I could get a notebook that has my cow on the front cover. And then when people ask me what my cow looks like, I can show them my notebook. Isn't that awesome? So we don't know what people are typing into the search engine to get to the book that they want to buy. But once they're there, we still don't know why they're buying. But that's okay. Because when people start buying your book, it's going to get more exposure because people are buying it. And then as it gets more exposure, more people will say, hey, I'd like to get that book. So maybe it's 10% of books sell. Maybe it's 5% of books that sell really well. Maybe it's only 2%. Let's say it's worse than that. Let's say it's 1 in 1,000 books sell well. So you put up 1,000 books, one of them sells. Now, let's run with that for a second. Let's run with that scenario for just a second. I put up 1,000 books. One of them is selling. Now, that one book is selling enough copies that I can make a living doing this. But only 0.1% of all books I have available on Amazon are actually selling. And that's okay for me. It may not be okay for you, but it's definitely okay with me. Because now that I've found that one book in 1,000 that people want to buy, and they're buying enough copies of it that I can make a living from the sales of that one book, I can either stop right now and throw all my marketing at that one book, all my book promotion at that one book, so that it goes from making me a living to making me a killing. and I can ignore the other 999 books. Or I can use the single book that's selling well to try to cross-promote to other books I want them to buy. And I can turn, with a little bit of advertising, I can turn my 1 in 1,000 book that's selling into one that provides the crutch for 10 more books. So now I have 11 books selling. I'm going to put all my promotion material after those 11 books and completely ignore the other 989 books. And that's fine with me. Okay? But here's the thing. The 1 in 1,000 that's selling, I don't know why it's selling. I can have an idea. I might say it's a Scottish cow. People just like Scottish cows. But I didn't know people like Scottish cows before I published this silly thing. Okay? I would have never imagined that they would buy the Scottish cow. I figured they'd buy the Longhorn cow. Okay? Or even the Hereford cow. But I didn't think they'd buy the Scottish cow. But they're buying the Scottish cow. And they're buying the Blacktop parking lot. Why are they buying the Blacktop parking lot? I have no clue. People are silly in the head. But I'm not going to argue with them. If they want to give me money, let them give me money. I'm not complaining. Okay? So, we don't know what it was that got people to those particular books. But now that they're buying those books, we can try to get more people to buy those books and make more money from those individual titles. But if we would said, okay, we're only going to publish one book, and if it doesn't sell, then whatever, I'm not meant to be an author. So you publish the one book, and you throw all your advertising after it, and now you're broke, and you got nothing to show for it. Because, why? Because they didn't like the cow you had on the front cover. They wanted the Scottish cow, and you put the Hereford on the front cover. Okay? Because we would have thought that the Hereford would sell. It didn't. The Scottish cow is selling. So, we put out a lot of variety. That's why we're doing this. This throw 1,000 against the wall, see what sticks. Isn't a matter of, I just want to waste my time. Because you're not wasting your time. It's like the Thomas Edison quote. Apparently, Thomas Edison, when he was inventing the light bulb, said that he had 1,007 iterations before he found the one that worked. So, the story is, he failed 1,006 times before he was successful. Okay? So, if he would have given up at 100 light bulbs, we'd still be living in the dark. If he'd given up at 500, we'd still be living in the dark. If he gave up at 1,000, we'd probably still be living in the dark. But fortunately for us, he went on to produce light bulb model design 1007. And now, there's a light bulb in every house across the planet. We all get to stay up at night because Thomas Edison figured out how to build a light bulb that worked. And that's the beauty of it. So, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to give up just before we find success? Do we want to invest everything into one single title that may or may not sell? If only 1 in 1,000 books is successful, do you want to only produce 999 books and say, okay, I've done 999 failures, so I'm not going to continue? Even though 1,000 would have made you a lot more money and made the entire process worthwhile. Is it worth it to go ahead and do model number 1,000? In my mind, yes, absolutely, it is. It is. So, I want to put as much information out there. I want to put as many products out there as I can. I know I'm going to fail sometimes. It irritates me when I fail. I hate to fail. I hate it, hate it, hate it. But I know I have to fail in order to succeed. I know I have to put out failures and flops to get to the ones that are going to make me money. And I never know. I think I know. But if I was as clever as I think I am, I'd have a 100% success rate. So I'd put out one book and it'd be a success. And then I'd put out a second book and it'd be a success. And I'd put out a third book and it would be a success because I'm smarter than everybody on the planet. But the reality is I'm not smarter than everybody on the planet. I put out one and it fails, two and it fails, three and it fails, four and it fails, five and it fails. Then I get a success. So I keep throwing stuff against the wall. And with the training, I have a higher success rate with the training than I do with books. So with the training, I'm writing for book authors. That's my audience. I'm talking to book authors. So when I provide training to book authors, my success rate is generally much higher. And I sell a lot more copies and I make a lot more money. And then when I go out and try to sell to Joe Blow, because when I'm doing journals, I'm just selling to strangers. I don't know the first thing about my customer other than it's 80% chance it's a woman and a 85% chance that they're over the age of 25. And chances are that they have always been studious note takers all their lives, and they like writing down things, and they got a lot of stuff going on in their lives, and they need a lot of detail, and they like buying books that are pretty. So what do? I design journals that they will find utilitarian. Then I try to put a pretty cover on it. And then once I put the pretty cover on it, I try to use keywords that they might want to type in to Google or Amazon to find my book. So I say cow notebook. Or I say longhorn cow notebook. Or I say cow journal. I don't know what they're typing in. But if I hit it just right, they can maybe they type in cow journal and find my book, my journal, my notebook, my glorified 3-ring spiral notebook that you can get at Walmart for 99 cents, but it's got a fancy cover on it, and it's got a pretty picture on the front cover, so now they're willing to pay $12.95 for my journal. Okay? So this is what I'm doing every single day. And for every 50 books I put up, maybe one of them's a success. Or 100 books I put up, maybe one of them's a success. And my numbers, I'm probably somewhere in a range of 2% success rate. But you know what's important about that 2% success rate? It's lower than Dye's. Dye's at 10% success rate. But when I know which books are successful, I know which books to promote. When I know which books to promote, I can make those individual books more successful. Okay? So I put them out there, not knowing what's going to work. And then when I find my winner, I can promote it. I can promote on Facebook. I can promote on YouTube. I can promote it with Amazon marketing services if I used KDP paper to upload the silly thing. Eventually that will apply to everything we've done, but right now it's limited to KDP paperback, okay? But I can do Google AdWords, and I can do Facebook ads, and I can do YouTube ads, and Bing ads. And I can say, cow journal? Do you want a cow journal? Check this thing out. Click here. Or do you want a Milky Way journal? Click here. This is an absolutely beautiful book with a picture of the Milky Way on the front cover. Click here. Okay? So I'm appealing to what people want. And once I know what they're willing to buy, I can invest my advertising money to make sure there's more people to find it to buy it. And that's where I'm going with mine. Now, we might say that Di is smarter than me, and maybe she is. But what makes her a 10% seller to my 2% sales is that she makes prettier covers than I do. I don't worry about pretty. I worry about splattering the internet with all these different options. I want people to discover me. And I put up hundreds of books to make sure that I have more. It's sort of like casting a line for a fish. When you go fishing, I don't fish. I don't like it. But my dad used to fish, and that's the reason I don't like it now. But instead of tossing one line out into the pond to catch a fish, I can toss 8 lines out into the pond to catch a fish. I don't know which of those 8 lines is going to get me the biggest fish. But I still have all 8 lines in the water. Okay? And that's my approach. I want to put as many lines in the water as I potentially can. I want to put as many keywords in play as I potentially can. I want to write reviews of my books. Not to put the review on Amazon, but to put the review on Facebook. And then I want to take another review of my book and put it on my own website. And it doesn't, at that time, once it's on Facebook and once it's on my own website, it doesn't matter that I wrote the review, because I'm going to send them to Amazon. And then that Amazon, customers are writing reviews. I'm not. I don't ever write a review of my own product for Amazon. Never going to happen in a million years. But I will write a review and put it up on my own website. And then I'll link to my book. And if people find my book on my website by using Google or Bing, then at the end of my review, it's going to say, click here to learn more. And if people follow that and go and buy my book, rock on, right? I'm here to make money. I'm not married to any particular way of promoting your book. I'm not married to any particular book title. I'm not married to a particular style of book. I'm married to making money. I'm greedy. So I'm putting stuff out there and trying to churn up as much sediment as I can off the bottom of that pond, trying to muddy the waters. Analogy-wise, I want to kick up as much sediment off the bottom of that pond as I can, because if there's sediment, people are going to find me, They're going to be able to reach out and find my books. So that's my approach, and it's not a matter of muddying the water or anything like that. It's just the concept that we want to put more material in play so more people can find us. Really? So that's the basic concept of what I'm working with. So maybe it's 2%, maybe it's 10%. When I was writing articles, I had about a 30% success rate. So 1 in 3 articles were successful. When I'm doing products, I'm about 1 out of every 5 or 6 products is a success. So let's say it's 1 out of every 6 products. Then I'm at a 16% success rate. And then if I got Di's books, her journals, she's at a 10% success rate. 1 in 10 does well. And then my journals on Amazon, I'm at a 2% rate. So 1 in 50 does well. But it doesn't really matter, because it's all a numbers game. It's always been nothing but a numbers game. So what you have to ask yourself, going back to Becky's question which started this thing. Becky's asking the question, is the make massive quantities and see if it sells technique really effective? Well, yeah. Unless you have the magic bullet, what kind of books people are going to buy and what kind of words you have to put into your keyword slots to get people to find your book, and the covers they're going to like when they see, and the description they're going to read to make that purchase decision. So there's a buddy of mine who, and this is I'm going to kind of wrap up here, but my buddy, he's got a business, and he gets a lot of his sales from people navigating Google to find him. So what his goal is, he's got one product. He's got like 100 iterations of that one product. I'm not going to tell you what the product is because I don't want to anger him or because we don't need to be competing with him. Okay? So the issue is he's got one product with about 50 flavors on it. We'll just call it flavors for simplicity's sake. So he's got 50 flavored popsicles. And so when he puts up a website, he puts up 5 to 6 websites with different domain names and different descriptions and different keywords on the page. But it's the same basic store. All the stores are the same. They have all the same products. But each of the products have a different description. So it's fascinating to me, being a search engine guy as I am, that this is the way he does it. He'll put up 6, every time he targets a keyword to target, he'll put up 6 websites targeting that particular keyword that he's going to try to get ranked for in Google. And then it'll be like, we'll put in terms of my blacktop and my cell phone journal, and we'll say that, okay, so I'm going to put up one entire website about blacktop journals. Then I'm going to put up an entire website about cow journals. Then I'm going to put up an entire website about cell phone journals. Okay, so they're all journals, but there's 3 different flavors of it. And so I'm going to put up 6 websites that target those keywords. So journal is my primary keyword, but I'm going to do cow journals. And let's just narrow it down and say I'm going to build 6 websites about cow journals. And I'm going to put those up, and all 6 websites are going to have the exact same products on them with a slight variation in the description and slight variation in the keywords and slight variation in the product name. But they're all the same product, all the same websites selling the exact same products. And then I'm going to come up with an iteration of that keyword. So the first time I did cow journals, now I'm going to do animal journals. Then I'm going to do horse journals. Okay? So I'm making just a slight variant of each one and putting up 6 websites for it. So here's the fascinating thing about my friend. He doesn't really do a bunch of SEO. He just builds a website, puts different keywords on his products, puts a different product name on it, and lets Google find his website. Okay? So he'll tell me, he'll send me a note and says, he'll say, go Google and type in such and such keyword. So he'll tell me, go in and type in brown cow journals. So I'll go over to Google and I'll type in brown cow journals. And 10 websites will come up, and 8 of them are his. And a couple of them have brown cow journal in the title. And a couple of them have something like animal journals brown cow. And some of them say horse journals, horse and brown cow. And he will have 8 of 10 listings on the Google search result page. Now, understand he sells one product with 50 different variations. And he does this same process for every single keyword he comes up with. So he comes up with brown cow journals and puts up 6 websites. And then he comes up with black cow journals. And then he puts up 6 websites. And then he decides on black and white cow journals and puts up 6 websites. And this is his search engine marketing process. And he's selling one product, 50 iterations, and this particular product is making him $750,000 a year in profit. Okay? He's just doing iterations on keywords and making $750,000 a year. $750,000 a year off of this strategy. Not because he's got one product that's selling extraordinarily well. No, it's not anything like that at all. He's got one product with several different iterations, and maybe the brown cow journal is selling better than the black cow journal, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't care what you buy as long as you buy from him. And that's where the beauty's at. We don't care what you buy as long as you buy from me. You can buy 10 of my products or 2 of my products. Just be sure you buy something from me. Okay? So that's where we're at. And I hope this has been helpful. But yes, absolutely, throwing stuff against the wall, see what sticks, works. Because we don't know what's going to be successful. And we don't know what kind of percentage. We can talk in generalities and say it's a 10 to 20%. But it might only be a 2 or a 5%. So, I wouldn't be upset if you're in the 2 to 5% range. If you're selling books, then you are doing the right thing. And if you think about it, the books that are selling probably weren't the ones that you thought would sell. And the ones you thought would sell aren't. And the ones you didn't know would are. So, the thing is, once you know that the brown cow journal sells, do some promotion on the brown cow journal. Because we don't know what makes it magical selling property or a magical asset that people want to buy. But don't criticize it. Plant, it's sort of like, it's like planting a seed, Here's what I did when I was doing article marketing as an SEO strategy. So I would write an article and I would syndicate it out to thousands of sites, and then 1 or 2 sites would publish that article, and then I would find that this copy, the article might be on 10 websites, but this particular website here is sending me the most traffic. So I want to make sure more people find my article on that website because that website's trusted and my article is getting me traffic and people who have read that article are buying my wares. So I want to make sure that more people find that particular article on that particular website. So I would go over to social media and say, hey, check out this article. This article published by such and such on such and such website. Check it out. It's titled such and such. Written by Bill Platt. Yeah, it's my article. But go check it out. You'll like it. And then more people would go over and read that article, and then they'd find their way to my website. And they'd buy what I'm selling. And as long as people were following that article to come to my website to buy what I'm selling, I would promote that article on somebody else's website. And I would do that incessantly. And maybe the first time I posted on Facebook about it, next time I'll post on Twitter about it. And then I'll go over, and here's one thing that I did was really clever. I thought it was clever. Maybe I'm thinking too highly of myself, but I would publish an article, and it would be published on such and such a website, and it would be bringing me a whole lot of traffic. And then in my next article, I would reference it. I would write a whole new article about a whole new subject and say, in a previous article that I published, I discussed something on a similar topic. You can read that article here and link to the article. Then I'd syndicate that new article. And then I would find the article, when I syndicated the second time, I would find the website that published that article that was sending me the most traffic. And so in my third article, I would say, I also discussed a similar topic to this one in this other article that's published here. And then I would link to it on this third-party website, this person who published my article on their website, who's sending me all the traffic because people trust them. I would link to their copy of the article. that link back to my website. So now I've got an article out there that's being syndicated that the article itself links to my website, but inside the article there's a link to another article I wrote on a different website, and that article there also links to my website, but inside that article there's another link to another article over here that also links back to my website. And I'm helping, so people will find the third article and they'd read it and they'd see the bit of text that says, I wrote on a similar topic, and you can find that article here. And they would click from that third article. After they finished reading that third article, they'd go back and they'd follow that link and go to the second article and read about the subject a little bit more deeply. And then they'd see the link for another article in that article, and they'd go to the first article and read more about it. Now they've had 3 exposures to me in a half an hour. And now they fully trust me to buy from me in the future. So that's an approach I use, and we're doing the same thing here. We don't know what's going to be successful, but once you do find what is successful, find ways that you can strengthen it. So in my case, I was linking to it from social media and from other articles, and you could do it from social media too. You can put out your journals. You can do 50 journals and do your cow journals, and you put out the Longhorn and the Hereford cow and the Scotch cow, and you see that the Scotch cow is selling really well. So then you go over to Facebook and you mention, hey, check it out, Scotch cow. Check it out, click here. And then, but if you're really clever about it, you're not just putting it on your own timeline that, hey, I published this book, it's got a cow on the front cover, click here. You're going to a Facebook group that caters to people who like cows. You're saying, hey, check this book out. You know, it's selling over on Amazon. It's got a Scotch cow on the front cover. It's beautiful. People are loving this book. Click here to learn more. And then you can go to another Facebook group that deals with Scotland and say, you know, all you people like Scotland, maybe you like the animals that reside in Scotland too. Check this out. I've got this book. It's got a Scotch cow on the front cover. Check it out. Click here and learn more. Then you can also go to like a farmer's page, a farmer's group on Facebook, and share the information about your cow journal. And then people will find it in that group and click and visit your website or your sales page on Amazon, and more specifically. So that's how you do it. You find what you put as much out there as you can, throw it against the wall, see what sticks. Once you know what sticks, then you know what to promote. And then instead of just leaving it to sit there on the wall and praying for sales, you can go out there and actively promote it so that more people will find it and more people will buy it. So yes, throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks works. Your mileage will vary. How they phrase it, your mileage may vary. YMVV, or YMMV is what it is. Your mileage may vary. So, and for some of you, 20% of your books will be successful. For some of you, 10% of your books will be successful. For some of you, 5% of your books will be successful. For people like me, 2% of your books will be successful. But if you put enough books out there that are successful, you'll make a lot more money. So I'll leave it at that. My name's Bill Platt. Catch you next time.